What if I told you that we may have already found proof of alien life and simply ignored it? In 1977, a mysterious signal from deep space stunned astronomers. It lasted just 72 seconds, never repeated, and no one ever found where it came from. Some said it was a glitch, others whispered it was a message. Then came the discovery of a tiny humanoid body in the Chilean desert, with a skull unlike anything seen in human biology. DNA tests were done. The results? More confusing than conclusive. And in 2017, something shaped like a cigar, not a comet, not an asteroid, flew through our solar system at impossible speeds, changing direction mid-flight. Harvard scientists said, this could be a spacecraft. Coincidences? Misunderstandings? Or cover-ups? Across decades, we've uncovered clues that challenge everything we thought we knew. And science, instead of explaining them, often walks away. If you love mysteries like this, hit that subscribe button. We dive deep into the secrets no one else is talking about. Since the dawn of civilization, humans have looked up at the night sky and wondered, are we alone? Ancient peoples carved strange figures into stone, some with elongated skulls and eyes too large to be human. The Sumerians spoke of gods who came from the stars. The Mayans built observatories centuries before telescopes existed. Even in the Bible and other ancient texts, some scholars argue that divine encounters could have been something else entirely, visitors not from heaven, but from the stars. Fast forward thousands of years, and the obsession only deepened. When Galileo pointed his telescope skyward in the 1600s, he wasn't just mapping the stars. He was expanding the stage on which life might exist. Later, in the 20th century, the invention of radio telescopes gave us ears to listen, not just eyes to see. And in 1974, humanity even sent a message to the stars, the Arecibo message, a digital postcard announcing, we are here. But here's the strange part. As our tools got better, so did the mysteries. Signals with no clear source. Objects moving against the laws of physics, fossils and artifacts that don't belong in Earth's timeline. Every time science seemed ready to shout, we found them, doubt crept in. Funding disappeared, data went missing, and silence returned. Why? Because the greatest taboo in modern science might be the possibility that we're not alone. For mainstream science, every claim of alien life has to jump through 1,000 hoops. If a microbe is found on Mars, it has to be a contaminant. If a signal is heard from space, it must be a satellite. If a body is found with alien features, it has to be a mutation. Always, always, the explanation must be grounded in what we already know. But the truth is, there are things we don't know. And that's where these 5 discoveries come in, because each one, in its own way, broke the rules, left experts baffled, and made us ask the question no one dares to answer. What if it's real? It was August 15th, 1977. Astronomer Jerry Eman sat in front of a radio telescope printout at Ohio State University's Big Ear Observatory. His eyes scanned the endless stream of numbers, until one sequence froze him in place, 6EQUJ5. In plain English, a radio burst that lasted 72 seconds, unlike anything recorded before or since. Eamon was so stunned, he circled the signal on the paper and wrote one word beside it. Wow. That's what the world would come to call it. The wow signal. Now here's where things get eerie. The signal came from the constellation Sagittarius, from deep space. It was exactly the type of narrowband radio signal scientists had hoped to receive from an intelligent source. Not natural static, not Earth interference. It was strong, focused, and silent after those 72 seconds. They pointed the telescope back in that direction, again and again. But the signal never returned. No repeat, no explanation. Some speculated it could have been a passing satellite, but none were in the right position. Others thought it might have been a secret military transmission, but records showed nothing. Even today, NASA, SETI, and dozens of astronomers around the world still list the wow signal as unexplained. Theories exploded. A deep space probe, a failed attempt at communication, or maybe the first time we were noticed. But the most chilling theory, we were never meant to hear it. In 1984, a meteorite was discovered in Antarctica, buried deep in the ice. Its name, ALH8 4001. At first glance, it was just another space rock. But analysis revealed something shocking. This meteorite came from Mars. Scientists believe it was ejected from the Martian surface millions of years ago by a powerful impact, eventually landing on Earth after drifting through space. But that's not the weird part. In 1996, NASA researchers made a stunning announcement. Inside the meteorite were tiny structures, carbonate globules and formations resembling fossilized bacteria. They looked eerily similar to microbial life found on Earth, but smaller. Too small, some said, to be life as we know it. President Bill Clinton even addressed the nation, saying the discovery speaks of the possibility of life. The media exploded. Headlines around the world screamed, "Life on Mars?" Then silence. Critics pushed back. They argued the formations could be chemical, not biological. Some said the evidence was inconclusive. Funding for further research began to fade. The excitement died as quickly as it came. But here's the thing, no one has ever proven it wasn't life. Even today, new studies occasionally resurface, questioning the original skepticism. Some scientists believe the meteorite might still hold the key, not just to Martian life, but to the origin of life on Earth. Could it be that microbes came here from Mars? If true, then we're not just asking whether life exists elsewhere. We're asking if we ourselves are the aliens. In 2003, a man exploring an abandoned church in the Atacama desert of Chile made a chilling discovery. A tiny mummified body, barely 6 inches long, with a skull elongated like an alien, large eye sockets, and only 10 ribs instead of the normal 12. Immediately, the theories began to swirl. Some believed it was a hoax, others claimed it was a fetus, but many, including UFO researchers, pointed to the body's bizarre proportions and said, "This isn't human." The specimen, nicknamed Ata, ended up in the hands of researchers, and eventually made headlines when it appeared in a 2013 documentary produced by Stephen Greer, a controversial figure in the UFO disclosure movement. That's when things got even weirder. DNA analysis revealed that Atta was human, but not in the way we expected. The genome showed strange mutations in genes related to bone growth and development, some never before seen in any medical literature. Scientists from Stanford University confirmed this wasn't a fetus, and she wasn't ancient. Atta had likely lived for 6 to 8 years, but how could a 6-inch human survive? And why were her skeletal anomalies so extreme? The answers never fully came. The official explanation, a tragic case of genetic disorder and cultural burial. The unofficial conclusion, Atta remains the most alien-looking human ever studied. And when researchers tried to dig deeper, they were met with lawsuits, accusations of unethical research, and total shutdown of further investigation. Almost like someone didn't want us to know more. We've been told the moon is lifeless, barren, silent. But not everyone agrees. Since the Apollo missions, whispers have echoed through the decades, whispers that the astronauts saw something up there, and were told never to speak of it. It starts with Apollo 11. During the historic moon landing in 1969, a strange moment occurred. The live transmission suddenly cut out. For 2 full minutes, no one on Earth could hear what Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were saying. NASA claimed it was a glitch. But years later, a leaked conversation surfaced, allegedly between the astronauts and mission control, describing 2 large objects watching us from the edge of a crater. NASA denies it ever happened. And then there are the photographs. Dozens of official lunar images from NASA's own archive show anomalies, geometric shapes, dome-like structures, and what appears to be a massive tower casting shadows that stretch miles across the surface. Most were dismissed as lens flares or image artifacts, but some insiders weren't convinced. Ken Johnston, a former NASA photo technician, went public claiming he was ordered to destroy original photos showing artificial structures. He refused and kept copies. One of the most bizarre claims came from China's lunar mission, which allegedly captured footage of a metallic object buried beneath the surface, dubbed by some as the Moon Ark. The Chinese government never confirmed or denied it. And then, silence. No further missions to that area, no follow-ups, just silence. Is it possible that what we think is just a natural satellite was once something more, or still is? Because if the moon isn't what we've been told, then the lie didn't start with science. It started with fear. In October 2017, astronomers in Hawaii detected something strange entering our solar system. At first, it looked like just another asteroid, but as the data came in, one thing became clear. This object, later named Oumuamua, didn't behave like anything we had ever seen. It was long, thin, shaped like a cigar, and spinning rapidly. It wasn't emitting gases like a comet, and it didn't follow a natural gravitational path. In fact, as it passed the sun, it accelerated without any visible propulsion. Asteroids don't do that, comets don't do that, rocks don't do that. So what was it? That's when Avi Loeb, a respected astrophysicist and chair of Harvard's astronomy department, made headlines. His theory? Oumuamua was not natural. It could be a probe sent by an alien civilization, maybe drifting, maybe dead, or maybe observing. The scientific community was split. Some accused Loeb of sensationalism. Others privately admitted, we don't have a better explanation. Here's the kicker. We had only a few days to study Oumuamua before it was gone, shooting out of our solar system at 196,000 miles per hour. We'll never catch it, never see it again. And that's what makes it so terrifying. It came from the stars, moved in ways we couldn't explain, and disappeared before we could understand it. A visitor from another world, or a reminder that they're already watching, and we were just too slow to respond. And honestly, if these stories are pulling you in the way they've pulled us, drop a like and tell us in the comments which one of these discoveries hit you the hardest so far, because we're just getting to the part where things stop being strange and start becoming real. Imagine this. What if the greatest scientific discovery in human history has already happened, not once but multiple times, and was ignored, buried, or dismissed? Each of the 5 cases we explored has one thing in common. None were ever conclusively debunked. They were labeled as inconclusive, controversial, or unconfirmed, but never false. Why? Because they couldn't be. And that's the part that haunts the scientific world. Admitting intelligent alien life exists doesn't just shift astronomy. It upends philosophy, religion, geopolitics, and power. If we're not alone, then we're not the top of the ladder. And for many institutions, that's a truth too dangerous to handle. Take Avi Loeb's theory about Oumuamua. He wasn't some conspiracy theorist. He was a Harvard astrophysicist, and still, he faced ridicule from his peers for suggesting the object might be artificial, not because he was wrong, but because the idea itself was unacceptable. Or look at the Atacama mummy. DNA proved it was human, but not how such a being could exist, survive, or remain hidden. Instead of further study, the case was shut down. The narrative was locked. Even the WOW signal, our best candidate for alien contact, was written off as a mystery we'll never solve. And science moved on. But should we? What if these aren't isolated incidents? What if they're part of a larger pattern, a slow drip of contact, evidence, and exposure that we're too stubborn or scared to fully recognize? Some researchers believe this is exactly what's happening, that we're living in a soft disclosure era where the truth is being revealed not with a bang, but in scattered clues. Objects in the sky, structures on the moon, fossils in space rocks, bodies with no explanation. And maybe, just maybe, We're being watched, not with malice, not with invasion, but with curiosity. After all, isn't that how we started? So let's go back to the question we started with. What if the proof of alien life has already been found and ignored? From strange radio signals to ancient-looking bodies, from interstellar objects to shadows on the moon. The clues are out there, scattered, fragmented, but undeniable. Maybe it's not about discovering alien life. Maybe it's about finally having the courage to accept it. Because if these 5 cases are just the ones we know about, what else is hidden? What other evidence was buried in classified files, lost in archives, or dismissed by scientists too afraid to break the mold? And if we are being watched, what do they see when they look at us? A planet still fighting over borders, a species afraid of its own potential, or a civilization on the edge of a revelation? One thing's for sure, the universe isn't silent. We just haven't learned how to listen. If this video got you thinking, don't forget to subscribe and tell us in the comments which discovery made you question everything. See you in the next mystery.